Hi, I'm Liz Whitehead, co-mastermind at Diversity Masterminds, and welcome to Business Unusual. I'm here as always with my co-mastermind, Heather Cox.
Hi, Heather Cox, co-mastermind of Diversity Masterminds.
And today we're going to talk to Rachel Martin from Oceano Wines. Hi, Rachel.
Yum.
Hi.
So before we get into business unusual, what happens when business unusual becomes business as usual? Why don't you tell us a little bit about your business?
Sure. So I'm Rachel Martin, and I'm the owner, co-founder, vintner of Oceano Wines. We are a winery that specializes in cool, ultra coastal, premium Chardonnay and Pinot Noir from San Luis Obispo, which is a new AVA, American Viticultural Area that's been proposed. San Luis Obispo coast. It's the most western AVA of the state. So that's kind of awesome. And then also, let's see, we sell our wines in distribution. We sell them online, and we are launching a mobile tasting room in 2022.
That's cool. What is that? What's a mobile tasting room?
Exactly. We are having a vintage VW bus completely restored.
That's the coolest.
It transformed into a mobile tasting room. So since I'm based in New York City, all the company is based in California, but I'm physically, not now because I'm always on the road, but I'm physically based in New York City. So our vintage VW mobile tasting room bus is going to also be based on the East Coast. So you will see it popping up around.
Wait, when are you coming to Vegas?
When am I coming to Vegas?
Let's get down to business. When are you coming to where I sit every day?
To me, it totally sounds like I need this VW bus at Burning Man. So like come to Vegas and then I go to Black Rock City and then get a DJ to spin in my mobile tasting room.
Yeah, I can totally see you down there like on Fremont Street with your mobile bus. It's like it's like all artsy downtown area now.
I'm all in, you know.
That's awesome.
So I'm a wine producer. And I founded Oceano Wines in 2016. But formerly, I was running my family's vineyard and winery, and I got into the wine business in 2001. So I've been doing this for about 20 years.
And you have all like the special degrees and like all the letters and, fancy stuff that goes along with it, right?
I do. I have a pedigree in wine. And then I also formerly had a career in photography. So I also have a bachelor's of fine arts from Tufts University in the Museum School of Fine Arts, Boston. So I apply my artistic sensitivity and perspective to what I do with Oceano Wines.
Yeah, that's very cool. I did not know that you had that fine arts degree either. That's cool.
Yeah,
it's pretty cool.
It's like at the core of everything that I do.
Right.
Absolutely. That's why Oceano is such a great gift for people too, because it's not only delicious, but it is beautiful. It's like a little work of art.
Did you design that cover? Did you design it?
No. The label is really kind of funny because there are seahorses on our label, and it's not just because they're cute, and it's not just because they live in the ocean, but my husband, Kurt Deutsch, who co-founded Oceano with me, when we were like first dating, we went on a trip together. We were both scuba divers. So we were on a dive in the Virgin Islands in Virgin Gorda, and we spotted a seahorse, which is a true rarity. And not only are they rare, but it's rare to sight them because they're so small, and they're also masters of disguise. And they adapt to, their environment as far as like color and all that. And the universe is an amazing thing, but they mate for life, and it's the males that give birth.
Oh, for real. That's how it should be everywhere.
So for all of those reasons, we're like perfect mascot for our relationship. So, which is just hysterical. But Kurt is an artist as well, and he's a music and theater producer. And so it's kind of a thing for us. So we wanted it to be on our label since we co-founded the winery together. So he and I drew out what we thought the label would look like. And it's on our website. If you go to oceanowines.com, something like our label. And there we have the original drawings that Kurt and I drew individually.
That's
and then
cute.
we sent them to his designer for all of his albums. So he's a record producer. And so her name is Stephanie Layton. And Stephanie designed our beautiful labels for us with these rudimentary crude drawings that we sent to her.
That's great though. I love that story.
Me too.
Everything matters, right?
Everything, right.
It really does for me. And so all these little decisions speak to the origin of the company and to the people behind it.
Absolutely.
Awesome. So how were you like a seahorse during COVID-19?
Did you mate for life, and did your husband have babies? No,
right. Well, the mating thing, wasn't an option, outside of our own apartment. So that wasn't an issue. But we adapted, I adapted. I run the company, and Kurt was dealing with his own, emergencies and stuff, being in theater. So we adapted. We kind of went in hiding a little bit because I'm in the food and beverage industry, and restaurants are a life force for our success. In New York City, we have a stronghold because we live there, right. And everything was shut down. And so thinking ahead of time, we don't own our vineyard. We source our fruit, and the fruit comes from Spanish Springs Vineyard. It's a single vineyard. And it's owned by Henry Warshaw, who's a family friend. And that's how I discovered the vineyard. But he's a grower, so he relies on people to purchase from him. And then we make our wines at Italics Wine Growers, and where our winemakers based. So anyway, I had the fortune of being able to say, Henry, I can't buy grapes this year. So I didn't make wine in 2020 because I simply didn't have the revenue to pay for it. Right. And so instead of making wine, I had to, I don't own the winery, and I don't own some of the things inside of the winery, like a tank or this or that, but I do own my own barrels. So I had to figure out a place to put my barrels. We had already bottled our wine. So in June 1st, 2020, we bottled our 2019 vintage. So my barrels were empty, and I had to find a place for them. So I found a warehouse that can condition them. You can't just put a barrel in a warehouse and wait a year and then use it without taking care of it. So I did have overhead for the warehousing and care of the barrels. But then it was I just reduced as many of my operating costs as possible, and took my winemaker is also my consultant. So I took him off retainer. And he totally got it, understands. They had it besides COVID, they had major emergencies with fires.
Fires, right? Yeah.
So 2020 was just really a tough year in so many aspects. So he, in fact, and they're, a fine wine, premium wine producer, they didn't make wine in 2020 either because of the fires, because of smoke taint. The grapes pick up that smoke, flavor, especially in high tannin wines, and is known for Cabernet, and that's a high tannin wine. So the smoke binds more with those grapes than others. So it was just a tough year for all of us. But he kept his employment at Italics Wine Growers, where he's head of wine growing. So he was okay, even though I couldn't keep him on retainer. So yeah, we just, got as, tightened our belts or whatever they say, and got as skinny as possible in order to weather the storm. So we did that. As a company, that's pretty much the nutshell of it. I did a few things like virtual tastings. That was one of the things we did, and we did it with other companies. So say companies that sell wines from multiple wineries or whatever, or a credit card company that gives you points to spend at wineries. We did some virtual tastings with them, and then we offer them on our website as well. But then that just was weird to me, and that's something that I did for a little bit. And then I was like, it's kind of like odd. I'd rather be in person talking to someone, talking about my wine, than like be in my bedroom, whatever honestly, it's people you don't know, so it's
hard to be in your bedroom with people you don't know. It's true.
Yeah, right. Going back to the seahorse story. But anyway, so that's something that I dropped before things started opening up again. I was just like, that's not true to me. So I'm not cozy. So I'm going to stop. And so, but when things, thank God, started picking back up in 2021, that's where we are, right? Yeah, in 2021. Yep. And, I started getting purchase orders again and getting revenue. But my customers did step up and bought, a lot of wine direct from me to support me, which was awesome. So we had our biggest direct consumer year.
That's fantastic. 2020.
However, it pales in comparison to the wholesale, as far as volume is concerned. So I'm just happy that we survived. It was such an interesting year. It was a dark year in some ways, especially like in these, high COVID areas like New York City was. Right. So it was just a dark year in some ways, and in other ways, there is always a silver lining. And, I did a lot of learning and I started live streaming. So every 2 weeks, I'm taking August off, but every other Tuesday I have a guest on Oceano Wines Facebook and YouTube channel. And I highlight good people doing great things, and they're typically friends of mine, and they're either artists or they're dedicated to sustainability. And so I have had a great time doing that, and I'm continuing that on. So that's something I started in COVID that now is going to be part, of what we do at Oceano Wines.
I love it.
Absolutely. Yeah, for sure. I saw that you were recently at a Black winemakers event, right? Because your consultant, your head winemaker is Black himself.
He is.
Right? Yes, I saw that, but he's not on this, so you can't see him that he is. So I'm saying the words.
His name, he deserves, so much credit for our wines. If, obviously not all the credit, but they are what they are because of him and his way, his gift, his ability to execute, and his belief in the plan of Oceano and what we stand for and what we want to do. So there's this just really strong bond. And so Marbu, he is native to Sierra Leone. He came over to the United States around the age of 15 to start pre-med at UC Davis, which is the most famous school for wine and winemaking. Fermentation sciences is what they call. So
we went from pre-med to wine. I bet his parents love that.
I know, his parents love that. They're like, oh my God, we prepared you with all the science background to become a winemaker. Because winemaking is the intersection of science and art. And so anyway, lucky for us, he changed to fermentation sciences and then graduated before the age of 21 because he's such a smart guy and motivated. And so he went to get his MBA in wine from Sonoma State before starting his career as a Valley winemaker. So he's had a 20 plus year career making wine in the Valley.
So how was that event though that you went to with the Black winemakers event?
Yeah, so it was great. I mean, a lot of people came out, and it was a pickup party for Screw Top Wine Bar, and they're located, a woman-owned business also. They're located, in Arlington, Virginia, and our wine was selected as part of, she has multiple wine clubs, right? And ours was part of the Adventurer Club, which is like the highest price point club. And it was pickup party, but plus it was all Black winemakers were represented within that pickup. And then they're celebrating Black winemakers for the whole month of August. So there's specials on those wines during the month of August. And I mean, there's great turnout. It was the first pickup event they had since COVID. And so we had great response from both our for our Pinot Noir. They had picked up the Pinot. I'm sure they'll be bringing in that Chardonnay next. But it was awesome, and I just absolutely love to be in person, meeting
So much
people.
better. I'm with
and,
you. Yeah.
It's the
so
best.
much better. Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
And it's really funny. I was joking with somebody that like all the extroverts now understand how the introverts have felt all these years when they're like, I don't want to go to events, because I'm like, I don't want to do another virtual event.
Yeah, exactly.
I need people.
I mean, the wine industry is all about relationships
Absolutely.
and people. And so
people will bond over wine. That's what wine does,
that
right?
too.
You bond
Yeah.
over wine.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
So I don't know. It's just, it's a beautiful industry. I love it so much. It's near and dear. I wouldn't do anything else if I had the chance.
So what's your favorite personal style of wine?
High acid, cool climate, medium tannin to low tannin. You know, I like lighter body style wines. I'm not a huge, I do love Cabernet, obviously. Cabernet Sauvignon. I love Cabernet Franc too. Pinot Noir is my favorite red wine. I'm making it, so that's awesome. And then just like really refreshing, like wines have to be refreshing. They have to be balanced. I love them when they're from cool climates. I love high altitude. I love coastal regions. Minerality, which is kind of a buzzword in wine. So I would say salinity. So like having that savory component to wine really gets me going.
You know, it's so funny. So Liz, Rachel and I were at a conference together, and she was handing out wines, and I would hear her say all these things to all these other wine people. And I was like, is it good? I don't know. That's all I care about. Is it yummy?
Right. Well, for the wine business, the baseline is it's good.
Yeah.
So for there, it's good, you know, and then we wax poetic. You know? So we're all, you know, it's our passion.
That's so fun though.
So like we're moving into the next normal. Like I think we have to acknowledge that we're not through everything yet. But you have this mobile business now and some different stuff that you started during COVID-19 that you want to keep. Where do you see yourself like 5 years from now with the mobile tasting business?
Right. I see myself having multiple mobile tasting buses. So I see that as a regional thing. You know, I'm going to start where I am. So this is going to start like, I also have a home in Virginia. That's where my family's winery is. And they still have the winery and they're still there. And I have a house there. So it's going to be between Virginia and New York. And so that's where we'll start. And then I want to get one, of course, for the Central Coast.
Well, Santa Barbara has that whole little downtown wine area.
They do. And then I'll do wine festivals, wine and food festivals. And then book it out for private events and work with luxury hotels. And
I love that.
Yeah. So I'd like to have a fleet of buses.
Well, that sounds like a great topic at your next WeBank conference, to have a conversation with the Hyatts and the Marriotts and the Hiltons, right?
Yes. Thank you, Heather. Always bringing it back. I love that. And then I see us producing more, so increasing our production. And I also see us as having hiring. So having an employee. I don't have an employee. I contract with businesses for services such as like Marbu. He's my consultant. So he has his own company. So I hire his company to, make our wines. So I could see hiring a head of sales and, someone to manage all the buses. And so I'm looking forward to 5 years and, growing as a company.
Yeah, that's awesome. So I'm in DC, so I will be at that mobile tasting bus.
Yes.
Send me pictures. I'm just like live vicariously through the two of you all the way over there.
No,
I'd love to do also marketing promotions with current retailers. And I have, of course, retailers in DC. And so, I'll help promote the wine by showing up on the bus.
Awesome. Great. Yeah. Well, I will see you there. And for everybody that can't join us on the bus, what's the best way to get in touch with you?
Well, go to our website, oceanowines.com. There's just so much information there. We are doing a website reboot that'll probably be completed the beginning of October. That's another thing I worked on during COVID, once I got some money in the bank. And then I guess, you can email me directly. My email is rachel@oceanowines.com, and follow us on Facebook and and whatever the heck it's called, follow, Insta, Oceano Wines. So it's OCEANOWINES. So that's all of our handles, like Twitter, whatever, Facebook, and Pinterest. We've got a Pinterest going on. So those are great ways to interact with us. But to reach me directly, simply send me an email, rachel@oceanowines.com. Not going to give out my phone number.
I got it, people. I got it. Don't you?
Yeah. But that's a great way. And join us on our live streams. And
on your website, Rachel, does it say which outlets? If they're like, I'm in this state or I'm going here for vacation, can they find where they can buy your wines on your website? Excellent.
Yes, we have a wine finder. So it's geo-referenced, and we ship to 44 states. So, buy it on our website, and it'll show up wherever the heck you're going, and send it as gifts.
Totally.
Yeah. Support women-owned businesses, Black-owned businesses, Black winemakers, and all that. Yeah.
I would say buy women-owned, drink women-owned.
That's right. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, this is great. Thank you so much for talking with us today. I learned a lot.
Well,
right.
so
I'm going to totally drop some of those, they couldn't produce this year because the smoke really affects the dark. I'm going to throw that out there at the dinner party one time.
Just get yourself in danger. Just, put your toe in the water and see if anyone knows anything about the subject, and then just own it if nobody does.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's so good to see you both. Thank you for having me on.
It's great to see you too. And we will see you next time on Business Unusual.
Bye.